What happened to Amelia Earhart, the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic? This question has intrigued us since 1937 when Earhart, a pioneering female aviator, vanished without a trace. She was attempting an ambitious feat, a globe-circling flight that would etch her name into the annals of aviation history. Flying high over the vast Pacific Ocean, Earhart and her navigator Fred Noonan were on the most challenging leg of their journey, but something went wrong. Earhart's last radio transmission was a plea for help, her voice fading into static and then silence. Despite an extensive search, the largest of its kind at the time, neither Earhart nor her aircraft were ever found. Theories abound, from crash and sink scenarios to capture by hostile forces, but the truth remains elusive. To date, the fate of Amelia Earhart and her plane remains one of aviation's greatest unsolved mysteries. The disappearance of Amelia Earhart continues to baffle us to this day. Is the Bermuda Triangle really a death trap for aircraft? Let's dive into the mystery of Flight 19. It was a routine training day in December 1945, when 5 U.S. Navy torpedo bombers took off from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Known collectively as Flight 19, these aircraft were piloted by experienced men, yet they vanished without a trace over the Bermuda Triangle. The mission was straightforward, a simple navigational exercise. But as the flight progressed, radio operators received troubling messages. The pilots reported malfunctioning compasses and a disorienting landscape. Then, silence. When the flight failed to return, search efforts were mobilized. But the mystery only deepened. Despite combing thousands of square miles of ocean, no wreckage or remains were ever recovered. What happened to Flight 19? Was it a navigational error, a sudden storm, or something more inexplicable? We may never know. The Bermuda Triangle continues to be a source of speculation and intrigue. Could two planes vanish under similar circumstances within a year of each other? This isn't a hypothetical. It happened in 1948 when two British South American Airways Avro Tudor airplanes, the Star Tiger and the Star Ariel, disappeared over the Atlantic Ocean. The Star Tiger was en route from Santa Maria in the Azores to Bermuda when it vanished without a trace. No Mayday signals, no wreckage, nothing. Just 11 months later, the Star Ariel suffered the same fate, disappearing during its flight from Bermuda to Kingston, Jamaica. Again, not a single distress call or piece of debris. Both incidents were eerily similar, occurring in the same region and under similar weather conditions. These uncanny parallels fueled speculation about the infamous Bermuda Triangle. Despite extensive investigations, no conclusive explanation has been found for these twin disappearances. The mysteries of the Star Tiger and Star Ariel still loom large over the Atlantic. From Guam to the Philippines, a flight vanishes without a trace. In 1962, a military-chartered aircraft known as the Flying Tiger Line Flight 739 disappeared while on its way from Guam to the Philippines. It was a routine flight, one of many that day. But as the hours passed, it became clear that something was terribly wrong. Despite carrying over 90 passengers and crew members, not a single distress call was made. No wreckage was found. No survivors came forward. It was as if the plane had simply vanished into thin air. Search efforts were exhaustive, spanning over 200,000 square miles of the Pacific Ocean. Yet they yielded nothing. No debris, no clues, no answers. The mystery surrounding the Flying Tiger Line Flight 739 has baffled investigators for decades. And in spite of modern advances in technology and aviation, we are no closer to solving it. The fate of Flying Tiger Line Flight 739 remains one of aviation's unsolved mysteries. A military transport plane carrying 98 people vanishes over the South China Sea. Now, this isn't the plot of a Hollywood thriller, but the chilling reality of Flight KS-6. The year was 1965. The flight was en route from Vietnam to the Philippines, but it never reached its destination. Despite extensive search efforts, not a single piece of wreckage was ever discovered. This left a cloud of questions hanging in the air. What happened to the plane? Did it crash, or was there something more sinister at play? Could it have been hijacked, or did it simply vanish into thin air? And what of the 98 souls on board? Their families left to grapple with the agony of not knowing their loved one's fate. Over the years, theories have been spun, investigations launched, but the mystery of Flight KS-6 remains. With no concrete evidence, no distress signals, and no answers, the story of Flight KS-6 is a haunting enigma. The fate of Flight KS-6 and its passengers continues to perplex us. An explosion in the sky, a plane plunges into the Atlantic. It was the summer of 1996 when TWA Flight 800, just minutes into its journey from New York's JFK Airport, met with a tragic fate. An explosion ripped through the aircraft, turning it into a flaming inferno that fell from the sky into the vast ocean below. The initial shockwave echoed around the world, with many speculating that this was the work of terrorists. The world held its breath, waiting for the investigation's findings. However, the official report, after a painstaking 4-year investigation, concluded that the most probable cause was a fuel tank explosion. Yet despite the extensive efforts to solve this tragic mystery, some still question the official conclusion. Conspiracy theories continue to swirl around the incident, with suggestions ranging from missile attacks to onboard bombs. These theories, though largely dismissed by experts, persist in the public imagination, ensuring that the true cause of the TWA Flight 800 disaster is still a topic of heated debate. A plane crashes into the Atlantic, killing all 217 people on board. Our next unsolved aviation mystery takes us to the late 90s, specifically to the year 1999. Egypt Air Flight 990, a routine trip from Los Angeles to Cairo with a stopover in New York, ended in tragedy when the Boeing 767 plunged into the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of Massachusetts. The wreckage was found, but the cause of the crash remains disputed to this day. 2 investigations were launched, one by the American National Transportation Safety Board and another by the Egyptian Civil Aviation Authority. The American investigators suggested a disturbing possibility: deliberate action by the relief first officer. The Egyptian authorities, however, attributed the crash to a mechanical failure. The 2 conflicting conclusions only deepened the mystery surrounding the crash. The cause of the Egypt Air Flight 990 crash remains a contentious issue, perhaps one of the most perplexing aviation mysteries of modern times. It's the year 2014. The world is gripped by an enigma that defies explanation: the disappearance of Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370. A Boeing 777, one of the most reliable airliners, takes off from Kuala Lumpur, its destination, Beijing, but it never arrives. The flight, carrying 239 souls, goes off radar, seemingly swallowed by the vast abyss. Despite the most extensive and expensive search operation in aviation history, MH370 remained elusive. Search efforts spanned from the South China Sea to the Indian Ocean, but all in vain. Theories abound, from the plausible to the bizarre: mechanical failure, hijacking, pilot suicide. Every possibility is explored, but none bring us closer to the truth. With no wreckage found, the fate of the passengers and the reason for the disappearance remain shrouded in mystery. The disappearance of Flight MH370 remains an unsolved mystery, haunting the aviation world. An Airbus 320 crashes into the Java Sea. That's the chilling headline from 2014, when Indonesia AirAsia Flight QZ8501 met its untimely end. The aircraft, carrying 155 passengers and 7 crew members, was en route from Surabaya, Indonesia to Singapore when it vanished from radar screens. Despite the grim circumstances, search and rescue teams did manage to locate the wreckage and recover most of the passengers' remains. A glimmer of closure in an otherwise tragic event. Yet, the question of what caused this disaster remains largely unanswered. Investigations pointed to a stall warning, a steep climb, and possible icing of the engines, but no definitive conclusion was reached. Were the pilots struggling with a technical failure? Did a sudden weather change play a part, or was there something else at play that we may never fully understand? The exact cause of the AirAsia Flight QZ8501 crash is yet another unsolved aviation mystery. The answers, it seems, may lay silent with the wreckage at the bottom of the Java Sea. A Chilean military aircraft vanishes on its way to Antarctica. In 2019, a Chilean Air Force C-47 carrying 38 souls disappeared without a trace. The aircraft was bound for Antarctica, a journey it had made countless times before. Yet, on this fateful day, something went horribly wrong. Despite the launch of a large-scale international search operation, only scattered debris was found. The vast, inhospitable waters of the Drake Passage, renowned for their treacherous conditions, offered no further clues. No distress signal was ever received, and the weather conditions at the time of the disappearance were reported as normal. What caused this seasoned aircraft to vanish into thin air? Was it a sudden mechanical failure, an unexpected weather phenomenon, or something else entirely? The answers, much like the C-47 and its passengers, seem lost to the depths. The fate of the Chilean Air Force, C-47 and its passengers remains shrouded in mystery.